Good morning. So my wife's sister, Gayla's sister, is a published poet. Now, I don't know if you personally know any published poets, but they seem to be about as rare as, those who buy books of poems that are actually published on behalf of poets. But such is the case for the basis of our latest excursion in the fact-filled, fantastically fun feature known as Hymnody in History. Carl Boberg was a 26-year-old Swedish minister who crafted a poem in 1885 which he called O Store Gud, or O Mighty God. He wrote it for use in the underground church in Sweden, where some elements of the Christian faith were under persecution. This poem launched Boberg into the stratospheric realm of the elite cadre of published poets. And the poem made its way into print in 1886 and was essentially forgotten after that, or so he thought. Several years later, he was surprised to hear it sung to the tune of an old Swedish melody, and though it was republished, it never really got any widespread traction or acceptance. The poem, which exalted God's creation and its revelation of his glory, wisdom, and great power, was translated into German and then into Russian as it made its way into the Soviet Union. It was there, in what is now the Ukraine, that an English missionary named Stuart Hein heard it. He was so moved by it that he modified the text, said it in English, and made his own arrangement of the original Swedish melody. The Carpathian Mountains served as a backdrop and inspiration for the first three verses, focusing on the beauty and majesty of nature. And Dr. Hein and his wife, though, were forced to leave the Soviet Union due to Stalin's famine genocide during the winter of 1932 and 33, which killed nearly 4 million people. And they left Eastern Europe for good at the outbreak of World War II in 1939 and returned to England. Upon returning, Dr. Hein penned the final fourth verse depicting the second coming of Christ. He published this version in 1949, and it began to gain some popularity. In 1954, it was introduced to the Billy Graham Crusade during their London Crusade. We talked about this earlier with the hymn, To God Be the Glory, that gained fame at this time. But Stuart Hein's hymn was largely ignored at that time by the Crusade until 1957 in New York City, when at Madison Square Garden it was introduced, and it was in such demand that they sang it 99 times during that crusade. The people did not let them stop. They kept asking for it over and over again. So coming in at number 2 on the all-time list of favorite hymns in a 2001 Christianity Today survey, after Amazing Grace, Stuart Hein's classic, How Great Thou Art, is a worldwide favorite. And there's your backdrop for today's worship as we close yet another thrilling chapter in the intriguing annals of Hymnody in History.